Hello there. I'm thrilled that you're contemplating a safari. Let me just start off by saying you won't regret it. But when is the best time to go? Is there a right or a wrong time? Will you miss out on seeing certain animals? Is there a more affordable season? These are all valid questions to ask before booking. The right safari is often costly, and I know that you don't want to make the wrong decision, so stick around and I'll tell you everything that you need to know. I'm Danielle Carstens. I'm a professional wildlife photography instructor in Africa from Africa, and I design and lead photo safaris throughout my home continent for photographers of all skill levels. I'm here at Chikunto Safari Lodge in Zambia's South Luangwa National Park, and many of the tips I'm about to give you is applicable to the safari experience that you'll get here. Africa is a massive continent, and the term safari is broad. So to narrow it down, I'll be referring specifically to wildlife safaris in these southern African countries. And I'll mostly refer to the type of safaris run by C4 and myself, where you'd be staying at a lodge like this one, and you'd be accompanied by a local guide. Even when narrowing it down, there are still exceptions within this region, but I'll give you the best overview possible. I've excluded Madagascar because this island is so unique in terms of climate and many others, so it's a video by itself. Let's start with a brief outline of the climate in this part of the world, because it's mainly divided into summer rainfall areas and winter rainfall areas with some transitional zones. Rainfall has a significant influence on your safari experience for various reasons, which I'll get to in just a moment. But in a nutshell, these regions all receive summer rainfall and these receive winter rainfall, with the Garden Route of South Africa, which is a stunningly beautiful area by the way, receiving rain all year round. It happens that the majority of wildlife reserves and parks lie within the summer rainfall region. Summer is officially December, January, February, but rainfall happens between November and the end of March in conjunction with warmer temperatures, with January and February being the most rainy and October being very hot and dry in most areas. Again, this is very much area specific within these summer rainfall regions. So some areas receive more rain than others, and the rainfall starts and ends at slightly different times in different areas. Now when I say summer rain, it's most often an afternoon thunderstorm, and it's rarely continuous rainfall. There isn't much that beats an afternoon thunder shower in the bush. It's just magical, and it cools things down considerably, at least for a period of time. In the peak of summer, you might get a few days of full cloud cover and continuous drizzle, and sometimes in the middle of winter you get these days too, but it's quite rare. Another nuance is that rainfall in southern Africa often has a latent effect elsewhere, for example in the Okavango Delta. The delta's water mostly comes from the Angolan highlands, and it takes some time to get from there to here. The area closer to Angola gets the water first, but some areas in the outer delta only see the water levels rising in July, which is actually then the middle of winter and supposed to be dry season. That's rainfall in a nutshell. Let's talk about temperatures briefly. Summer is hot, winter is less hot, and if you blink, you'll miss spring and autumn. That's all you need to know. I'm just kidding, but yes, the transition between summer and winter is rapid. Maximum temperatures in summer range from 25 to 40 degrees Celsius, and minimums will be around 18 to 25 degrees Celsius. And in winter, maximums range around 20 to 26 degrees Celsius, dropping down to about 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. But on an open game drive vehicle, in the early morning, I've experienced below zero temperatures, with the added wind chill factor that you get from driving in an open vehicle. What are the implications of this in terms of your safari experience? Personally, summer is my absolute favorite time in the bush. I've summarized the pros and cons of the seasons here to give you an overall idea, and you're welcome to pause the video to have a better look. In summer, there's life everywhere. There's a cacophony of sounds, day and night. Migratory birds are around. It's lush green in most areas, which is quite the opposite in winter. You're not chewing dust on game drives. The skies are clear blue, and they're often decorated with either impressive cloud formations or rainbows, which are exchanged for dusty golden tones and duller skies in wintertime. There are so many special events that happen in summer here. It's calving season for many species like impala and wildebeest, which in turn attract predators. You can see massive carmine bee-eater breeding colonies. The largest mammal migration happens in the form of the Kasanka bat migration in Zambia. Carpets of yellow devil thorn flowers erupt in Mashatu. Thousands of zebras migrate across Botswana following the rains. Tens of thousands of flamingos gather on the Magadi pans. It's simply the most beautiful time in southern Africa. The best part of it all is that your chances of running into crowds are quite slim. This is also very much dependent on where you're going. If you're visiting a busy national park, there will be crowds. If you're visiting a quieter national park or a private concession, then your risk for crowds is close to non-existent. Have a look at Darren's video over here, where he elaborates more on the highlights of the green season in Africa. In the winter, the bush mostly thins out and the grasses die off. I love tall grass images. It often softens the photo and adds a beautiful frame around your subject, but you do need patience for these types of images because focus can be challenging, and then obviously finding the animal is also quite challenging. Wildlife also tends to hang around permanent water sources more in winter, whereas in summer they are dispersed during the rains because they can get water from vegetation or newly formed puddles or dams away from the permanent water sources like rivers and lakes. Some roads can potentially become inaccessible in summertime. Certain southern African parks actually close during the rainy season because of this inaccessibility issue. There are definitely more insects around, and I do know that malaria is a concern for many travelers. To give you an idea, I've lived in malaria areas for over half my life and I haven't contracted it, but I have always taken the necessary precautions. You don't run the risk of getting caught in the rain in winter, and it can get much hotter in summer. But depending where you're going, you'll have air conditioning in your rooms, raincoats always available, and a sparkly pool. If you're lucky, you might even get a visit from elephants, who also love sparkly pools. I always try to book seasonally appropriate accommodation. It's no fun in February in a tent without air conditioning or a fan. As you can see, there's a lot to consider, and it's invaluable to get the inside info from local tour operators who know about the exceptions and who have a few tricks up their sleeves. Let's talk about cost. A decent, memorable safari is costly, but rates vary greatly depending on the season. In a nutshell, accommodation rates are lower in summer. Peak season is generally May to October, so make sure you ask about this when you are planning your safari. It's also often easier to find availability last minute in summer compared to the peak winter time seasons. However, if a safari looks extremely cheap compared to others, ask the operator why this is, because it might be the completely wrong time to visit that particular area, but the operator only has profit in mind. It's a true story. I've seen operators selling photo hide safaris in the rainy season, and that means nothing will come to the hide's waterhole because there's water everywhere else for them. This is one of the reasons that the hides at Mashatu close during the rains or the summer months. Make sure that your operator has your best interests at heart. One last important note when we're talking about summer versus winter for photography. In winter, the golden light lasts a little bit longer than in summer, and it's a little bit softer. Whereas in peak summer, your golden light window is small, and the light gets harsh quite quickly, which isn't the end of the world. I tend to be quite strict with departing on time in the mornings. I make sure we head out well before sunrise so that we can be out there already when the golden light appears, and we try our best to find a suitable subject before the soft afternoon light starts coming through. On the other hand, the absolute best light I've ever had in Africa was right after an afternoon thunderstorm, when the sun creeps out, diffused by the clouds, and there's this golden ethereal glow all around. It's genuinely magic, and I'd probably choose that light above any other light. All in all, it really comes down to your expectations, your budget, and the type of accommodation that you'll be staying in. Of course, if there is something specific that you'd like to witness, like the zebra migration, then your season to visit is decided for you. But otherwise, my advice for first-time safari goers would be to look at the shoulder seasons. It's almost always a safe bet. I know you'll get hooked on Africa and you will return, and then you can try a slightly different time of the year. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to just pop them below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.